The words you choose can make a big difference in how intelligent and professional you sound. Some words weaken your message or make you seem less confident. Today, we're sharing 100 words you should avoid to sound smarter and more professional so you can communicate with clarity and authority. Let's get started. Basically. Meaning. Basically means in simple terms or fundamentally. In a sentence, basically, I handled all the important projects at my last job. Why to avoid? Using basically can make your explanation sound overly simplified, which may seem unprofessional in formal settings. It can make your skills sound less complex or important. Stuff. Meaning. Stuff refers to unspecified objects, tasks, or things. In a sentence, I managed a lot of stuff related to marketing and sales. Why to avoid? Stuff is vague and informal. In an interview, clarity is key. Replace it with specific terms like tasks, projects, or responsibilities to sound more professional. Whatever. Meaning. Whatever can mean anything at all, but it often sounds dismissive or indifferent. In a sentence, I'm open to doing whatever you need me to do. Why to avoid? It can sound like you don't care about specific tasks or responsibilities. Instead, show enthusiasm by mentioning specific areas where you can contribute. Honestly. Meaning, honestly is used to emphasize that what you're saying is true. In a sentence, honestly, I didn't enjoy working with that team. Why to avoid? Starting sentences with honestly might unintentionally suggest that you weren't being completely honest before. Just state your points confidently without this filler. Perfectionist. Meaning, a perfectionist is someone who strives for flawlessness and sets high standards. In a sentence, my biggest weakness. I'm a perfectionist. Why to avoid? While many think perfectionist sounds impressive, it's often seen as a cliché. Instead, describe your attention to detail with real examples, showing how it benefits your work without sounding rehearsed. Like. Meaning, often used as a filler word in speech. In a sentence, I, worked on a lot of projects in my last job. Why it's unprofessional? Overusing like makes you sound unsure and less articulate. Meaning, a filler sound used when pausing to think. In a sentence, I think I would be a great fit for this position. Why it's unprofessional? Frequent use of makes you appear unprepared or nervous. Thing. Meaning, a vague term used to refer to an object, concept, or situation. In a sentence, I learned a lot of things in my previous role. Why it's unprofessional? It lacks specificity, making your statements sound weak and unclear. Try. Meaning, to make an attempt at something. In a sentence, I will try my best to meet deadlines. Why it's unprofessional? Saying try suggests uncertainty instead of confidence in your abilities. Probably. Meaning, used to indicate uncertainty or likelihood. In a sentence, I can probably handle multiple projects at once. Why it's unprofessional? It weakens your statements, making you sound hesitant rather than capable. Meaning, is a filler sound people use when they are thinking of what to say next. Let's use it in a sentence. Today I will be talking about our marketing strategy. Why to avoid? Frequent use of makes you sound unprepared and nervous. It distracts the audience from your main message. Practice pausing instead of filling gaps with like. Meaning, like is often used informally to compare things or as a filler word. Let's use it in a sentence. So, our sales increased by 20% last quarter. Why to avoid? Overusing like can make you sound less confident and less professional. Replace it with clear, direct language to maintain authority. Actually. Meaning, actually is used to emphasize a fact or correct a misunderstanding. Let's use it in a sentence. Actually, I think we should consider another approach. Why to avoid? It can come across as condescending or defensive, especially when correcting someone. Use it sparingly to avoid sounding dismissive. Just. Meaning, just can mean only, simply, or barely. Let's use it in a sentence. I just wanted to say that this project is important. Why to avoid? Adding just can undermine the importance of your point, making it seem less significant. Be direct and assertive instead. Sorry. Meaning, sorry is an apology used to express regret. Let's use it in a sentence. Sorry, I'm not sure if this slide is clear. Why to avoid? Over-apologizing can make you seem insecure or unsure of your content. Instead of apologizing, stay confident and clarify your points clearly. Basically, meaning, used to simplify or summarize a point. In a sentence, basically, this project is about increasing sales. Why it's weak, it can make your ideas sound oversimplified or lacking depth. Hopefully, meaning, used to express uncertainty about an outcome. In a sentence, hopefully, this strategy will improve our results. Why it's weak, it suggests a lack of confidence in your own points. Stuff. Meaning, a vague term for an unspecified group of things. In a sentence, we have a lot of stuff to cover today. Why it's weak, it sounds informal and unprofessional, reducing the clarity of your message. Maybe. Meaning, indicates uncertainty or a lack of conviction. In a sentence, maybe we can increase productivity with this new tool. Why it's weak, using maybe makes your statements sound unsure rather than persuasive. You know. Meaning, a filler phrase used to seek agreement or fill pauses. In a sentence, this report, really highlights our challenges. Why it's weak, it makes your speech sound less polished and reduces your authority. But. Meaning, but is used to introduce a contrast or exception. Let's use it in a sentence. I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to upset you. Why to avoid, adding but after an apology sounds like you're making excuses, which weakens the sincerity of your apology. Keep it genuine without justifying your actions. If. Meaning, if is used to express a condition or possibility. Let's use it in a sentence. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. Why to avoid, saying if implies that the other person's feelings might not be valid. It makes the apology seem insincere. Acknowledge the impact directly without conditions. Whatever. Meaning, whatever means anything at all, but it often sounds dismissive. Let's use it in a sentence. I said sorry, whatever. Why to avoid, using whatever makes your apology sound careless and disrespectful. It shows a lack of genuine concern for the other person's feelings. Fine. Meaning, fine means acceptable or okay. Let's use it in a sentence. I'm sorry, fine, is that what you wanted to hear? Why to avoid, saying fine in this context sounds passive-aggressive and insincere. It can escalate the situation instead of resolving it. Forget it. Meaning, forget it is a phrase used to dismiss a topic or suggest it's not worth discussing. Let's use it in a sentence. I said sorry, forget it, it's not a big deal. Why to avoid, saying forget it dismisses the other person's feelings and minimizes the issue. It makes the apology seem insincere and can cause more frustration. Actually. Meaning, used to correct or contradict. In a sentence, I'm sorry, but actually, I didn't mean it that way. Why it's weak, it makes your apology sound defensive instead of sincere. Hopefully. Meaning, expresses uncertainty about the outcome. In a sentence, hopefully, you understand why I did that. Why it's weak, it shifts responsibility onto the other person rather than owning the apology. Soon. Meaning, an indefinite time frame for taking action. In a sentence, I'll make it up to you soon. Why it's weak, it lacks commitment, making it sound like an empty promise. Regret. Meaning, a formal expression of sorrow. In a sentence, I regret what happened. Why it's weak, it sounds impersonal and doesn't take full accountability. Mistake. Meaning, an error or unintentional act. In a sentence, it was just a mistake. Why it's weak, it can minimize the impact of your actions, making the apology seem dismissive. Whatever. Meaning, whatever means anything at all, but it's often used dismissively. Let's use it in a sentence. Sure, whatever you think is best. Why to avoid, it sounds disrespectful and indifferent, suggesting you don't care about the task or feedback. Use respectful language to show you value their input. Boring. Meaning, boring describes something that is dull or uninteresting. Let's use it in a sentence. This project is so boring. Why to avoid, calling work boring can make you seem unmotivated and unprofessional. Instead, discuss ways to make tasks more engaging or express interest in new challenges. Can't. Meaning, can't means unable to do something. Let's use it in a sentence. I can't finish this on time. Why to avoid, saying can't shows a lack of problem-solving mindset. Instead, Explain the challenges and suggest possible solutions or alternatives. Lazy. Meaning, lazy means unwilling to work or put in effort. Let's use it in a sentence. I didn't finish because I was feeling lazy. Why to avoid? Admitting laziness reflects poorly on your work ethic. Focus on discussing genuine challenges and how you plan to overcome them. Blame. Meaning, blame means to assign responsibility for a fault or wrong. Let's use it in a sentence. I blame the team for the delay. Why to avoid? Blaming others shows a lack of accountability. Instead, take responsibility for your part and discuss constructive solutions. Whatever. Meaning, whatever means anything at all, but it often sounds dismissive. Let's use it in a sentence. Yeah, whatever you say. Why to avoid? It can come across as indifferent or disrespectful, making others feel like their opinions don't matter. Use phrases like I understand to show you're listening. Calm down. Meaning, calm down is used to tell someone to relax or reduce their emotional intensity. Let's use it in a sentence. You're overreacting, just calm down. Why to avoid? It can feel dismissive and patronizing, especially when someone is upset. Instead, say, let's take a moment to talk this through. Obviously. Meaning, obviously means something is clear or self-evident. Let's use it in a sentence. Obviously, that was the wrong choice. Why to avoid? It can make others feel inferior or unintelligent. Instead, present your point without implying that others should have already known it. Fine. Meaning, fine means acceptable or okay. Let's use it in a sentence. Whatever, it's fine. Why to avoid? When said with a certain tone, it can sound passive-aggressive or dismissive. Clarify your feelings or concerns instead of brushing things off. Actually. Meaning, actually is used to correct someone or emphasize a point. Let's use it in a sentence. Actually, that's not how it works. Why to avoid? It can sound condescending, especially when correcting someone. Try rephrasing with a softer tone, like, I see it a bit differently. Today, we're sharing 5 more words that might come across as rude even when you don't mean them to. Let's get started. Relax. Meaning, to become or make someone less tense or anxious. In a sentence, just relax, it's not a big deal. Why it's rude? It can sound dismissive or patronizing, especially if someone is upset. Sure. Meaning, used to express agreement or confirmation. In a sentence, sure, whatever you say. Why it's rude? Depending on tone, it can sound indifferent or sarcastic. If you say so. Meaning, used to acknowledge something you don't necessarily agree with. In a sentence, if you say so, then I guess it must be true. Why it's rude? It implies doubt and can make the other person feel invalidated. No offense. Meaning, a phrase used before or after a statement that might be offensive. In a sentence, no offense, but that idea won't work. Why it's rude? It signals that an offensive comment is about to follow, making it seem insincere. I'm just saying. Meaning, a phrase used to justify an opinion. In a sentence, I'm just saying, you could have handled that better. Why it's rude? It often minimizes the impact of a potentially rude or critical remark. Obviously. Meaning, obviously means something is clear or self-evident. Let's use it in a sentence. Obviously, that's the right answer. Why to avoid? It can make others feel inferior, as if they should have already known what you're saying. Use more inclusive language to encourage open discussion. Actually. Meaning, actually is often used to correct someone or emphasize a fact. Let's use it in a sentence. Actually, that's not how it works. Why to avoid? It can come across as condescending, especially when frequently used to correct others. Try softer phrases like I think, to keep the tone friendly. Clearly. Meaning, clearly indicates something is easy to understand or obvious. Let's use it in a sentence. Clearly, I was the most qualified for the job. Why to avoid? It can sound dismissive of other perspectives, making you seem self-important. Instead, focus on facts without overstating. Whatever. Meaning, whatever means anything at all, often used dismissively. Let's use it in a sentence. Whatever, I know I'm right. Why to avoid? It shows disinterest or superiority, shutting down meaningful conversations. Stay engaged and respectful even in disagreements. Obviously. Meaning, obviously means something that is easily understood or recognized. Let's use it in a sentence. Obviously, I'm the best person for this. Why to avoid? Repeating this word can sound arrogant, as it implies others are not as knowledgeable. Use humble language to connect better. Frankly. Meaning, used to introduce a direct and sometimes blunt opinion. In a sentence, frankly, I don't think you know what you're talking about. Why it sounds arrogant? It can come off as dismissive or condescending, making others feel belittled. Presumably. Meaning, without a doubt, absolutely certain. In a sentence, presumably, my idea aligns well with what the team needs. Why it sounds arrogant? It assumes correctness without verification, which can make you seem dismissive of other opinions. Indisputably. Meaning, impossible to question or challenge. In a sentence, indisputably, my experience makes me the most qualified for this role. Why it sounds arrogant? It suggests that your opinion or position is beyond debate, alienating others. Essentially. Meaning, used to emphasize the basic or most important aspect of something. In a sentence, essentially, I'm the one who made this project a success. Why it sounds arrogant? It can make it seem like you're taking all the credit and downplaying others' contributions. Everyone knows. Meaning, a phrase suggesting that something is common knowledge. In a sentence, everyone knows that my approach is the best one. Why it sounds arrogant? It assumes universal agreement, which can alienate those who have different viewpoints. Calm down. Meaning, calm down is used to tell someone to relax or reduce their emotional intensity. Let's use it in a sentence. You're overreacting, just calm down. Why to avoid? It can feel dismissive and invalidating, especially when someone is genuinely upset. Instead, try acknowledging their feelings with empathy. Normal. Meaning, normal refers to something considered typical or standard. Let's use it in a sentence. That's not normal behavior. Why to avoid? Labeling something as not normal can be offensive, as it implies judgment. Choose words that are more neutral, like uncommon or different. Crazy. Meaning, crazy describes something wild, irrational, or out of control. Let's use it in a sentence. That idea sounds crazy. Why to avoid? While often used casually, it can be hurtful, especially to those dealing with mental health issues. Opt for words like unusual or surprising instead. Lame. Meaning, lame is used to describe something as dull, boring, or uncool. Let's use it in a sentence. That party was so lame. Why to avoid? Originally referring to physical disabilities, its casual use can be offensive. Use alternatives like boring or underwhelming. OCD, used casually. Meaning, OCD stands for obsessive-compulsive disorder, a serious mental health condition. Let's use it in a sentence. I'm so OCD about keeping my desk clean. Why to avoid? Using OCD casually minimizes the real struggles of those with the disorder. Instead, say I like things organized or I'm very detail-oriented. Bossy. Meaning, dominating or giving orders in an overbearing way. In a sentence, she's so bossy when working on group projects. Why it can be offensive? It's often used negatively, especially towards women, to criticize assertiveness. Hysterical. Meaning, extremely emotional or out of control. In a sentence, she got hysterical over a small mistake. Why it can be offensive? It has historically been used to undermine and dismiss women's emotions. Exotic. Meaning, unusual, different, or foreign in an interesting way. In a sentence, you have such an exotic look. Why it can be offensive? It can make people feel like outsiders or reinforce stereotypes about cultural differences. Needy. Meaning, requiring a lot of attention or support. In a sentence, he's too needy in relationships. Why it can be offensive? It can belittle someone's emotional needs and struggles. Mature for your age. Meaning, more responsible or developed than expected for one's age. In a sentence, you're so mature for your age. Why it can be offensive? It can downplay someone's experiences and imply they had to grow up too fast. Actually. Meaning, actually is used to correct someone or emphasize a point. Let's use it in a sentence. Actually, that's not how it works. Why to avoid? While it may seem harmless, using actually frequently can come across as condescending or dismissive, making the other person feel corrected or belittled. Fine. Meaning, Fine means acceptable or okay. Let's use it in a sentence. I'm fine, thanks. Why to avoid? It's a conversation stopper because it doesn't invite further discussion. Offer more details to keep the conversation flowing. Nothing. Meaning, nothing refers to the absence of anything. Let's use it in a sentence. What's new with you? Nothing. Why to avoid? Responding with nothing can make the interaction feel dull and uninviting. Share even small updates to keep the conversation engaging. Cool. Meaning, cool is often used to express approval or indifference. Let's use it in a sentence. Oh, you got a new job. Cool. Why to avoid? While not always negative, using cool without enthusiasm can seem disinterested. Add follow-up questions to show genuine interest. Awkward. Meaning, awkward describes something that feels uncomfortable or embarrassing. Let's use it in a sentence. Well, that was awkward. Why to avoid? Pointing out awkwardness can make situations feel even more uncomfortable, shutting down natural conversation flow. Whatever. Meaning, a dismissive response showing indifference. In a sentence, whatever, it doesn't matter. Why it kills the conversation? It shuts down further discussion and makes the other person feel unheard. Anyway. Meaning, used to change the subject or move on. In a sentence, anyway, let's talk about something else. Why it kills the conversation? It signals that you're uninterested in continuing the discussion. Never mind. Meaning, used to dismiss a previous statement or question. In a sentence, never mind, it's not important. Why it kills the conversation? It invalidates curiosity and discourages further engagement. Sure. Meaning, a neutral response that lacks enthusiasm or commitment. In a sentence, sure, do whatever you want. Why it kills the conversation? It can come off as passive-aggressive or disinterested. Oh. Meaning, a brief, unenthusiastic acknowledgement. In a sentence, oh. That's interesting. Why it kills the conversation? It signals disinterest and discourages further elaboration. Regret. Meaning, regret means feeling sad or disappointed about something that happened. Let's use it in a sentence. Do you have any regrets about getting married? Why to avoid? Bringing up regrets at a wedding can cast a negative shadow on a joyful occasion. Focus on celebrating the couple's happiness instead. Mistake. Meaning, mistake refers to an error in judgment or action. Let's use it in a sentence. I hope this isn't a mistake. Why to avoid? Joking or questioning the couple's decision can be hurtful, even if said lightly. Keep your words positive and supportive. Ex. Meaning, ex refers to a former romantic partner. Let's use it in a sentence. Remember when you were with your ex? Why to avoid? Mentioning past relationships can be awkward and inappropriate, especially during a celebration of new beginnings. Divorce. Meaning, divorce is the legal dissolution of a marriage. Let's use it in a sentence. Well, let's hope you never get divorced. Why to avoid? Talking about divorce at a wedding is insensitive and can dampen the mood. Focus on the joy and commitment of the day. Alone. Meaning, alone means without anyone else present. Let's use it in a sentence. You'll never be alone again. Why to avoid? While it may seem lighthearted, this can unintentionally sound restrictive. Celebrate companionship instead of implying loss of independence. Drunk. Meaning, intoxicated by alcohol. In a sentence, wow, he's completely drunk already. Why it's inappropriate? Pointing out someone's intoxication can be embarrassing and ruin the celebratory mood. Pregnant. Meaning, expecting a baby. In a sentence, are you pregnant, or is that just the dress? Why it's inappropriate? Making assumptions about someone's body is intrusive and can be offensive. Next. Meaning, coming after in order. In a sentence, so, when are you getting married next? Why it's inappropriate? It puts pressure on unmarried guests and can make them uncomfortable. Old. Meaning, having lived for many years. In a sentence, you're getting old, it's about time you settled down. Why it's inappropriate? Age-related comments can be insensitive and make people feel self-conscious. Expensive. Meaning, costing a lot of money. In a sentence, this wedding must have been so expensive. Why it's inappropriate? Bringing up costs can make people feel uncomfortable or judged. Like. Meaning, used as a filler word in speech. In a sentence, I was, like, thinking we should, like, move the meeting to Friday. Why it's important: overusing like makes you sound unsure or unprepared. Instead, pause briefly or use more precise words to articulate your thoughts clearly. Whatever. Meaning: a dismissive term meaning it doesn't matter or I don't care. In a sentence, we can go with either plan, whatever. Why it's important: saying whatever can make you appear indifferent or disengaged, which isn't ideal in a professional setting. Instead, provide a clear opinion or preference. Basically. Meaning: used to simplify or generalize a statement. In a sentence, basically, we just need to finish this report by noon. Why it's important: while simplifying is useful, overuse of basically can make your statements seem vague or lacking depth. Be direct and specific instead. Or meaning: filler sounds used when pausing in speech. In a sentence, I think we should, review the project again. Why it's important: frequent use of or can make you seem unprepared or lacking confidence. Practice pausing silently instead of relying on fillers. Honestly. Meaning: used to emphasize sincerity or truthfulness. In a sentence, honestly, I don't think this idea will work. Why it's important: using honestly too often may imply that other statements you make are less truthful. Instead, be confident in your words without unnecessary qualifiers. Literally. Meaning: used to emphasize a point, often inaccurately. In a sentence, I literally worked 24 hours straight on this project. Why it's unprofessional: overuse of this word can make statements sound exaggerated or untrustworthy. Nope. Meaning: informal way of saying no. In a sentence, nope, I haven't seen that report yet. Why it's unprofessional: it sounds too casual and dismissive in a professional setting. Stuff. Meaning: a vague way to describe multiple items or tasks. In a sentence, I have a lot of stuff to do today. Why it's unprofessional: lacks specificity and can make you appear unorganized or imprecise. Gonna. Meaning: informal contraction of going to. In a sentence, I'm gonna send that email later. Why it's unprofessional: using slang in workplace communication can make you seem less polished and credible. Whatever. Meaning: used to express indifference or lack of concern. In a sentence, whatever, let's just go with that option. Why it's unprofessional: it sounds dismissive and unengaged, which can damage workplace relationships.